Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Living World of Darkness, Changeling the Dreaming. This scene in the, what would you call them? The bowels of Taranar, the dungeons, a small room, large enough to pace around, but not really do much in. Sits quiet, a lone woman huddled on the simple, thin mattress, door to her cell. Closed, the slot through for food and uh, another slot for eyes. The only things that give her some view of the outside world when they occasionally open. She sits there quietly, trying to figure out what to do with herself. And that's where this scene will begin.
Alice is there, walking up. She is going through the halls, walking in some 2-inch heels that are making clacks against the stone floor. She's currently dressed in a little black dress with a black bow in her hair. On her shoulder is a purse, small, strappy thing. A stern look is on her face as she stops in front of the cell to look it over, as if trying to take it in and inspect it. But she remains silent.
She might hear a faint movement behind the door, hearing heels clicking down the hall. That's not something she's heard since she's been here. So she's got her curiosity piqued, at least, especially since they stopped right outside. She's wondering if there's somebody in the cell across the way, but she's pretty sure she's the only one in here right now. She approaches the door quietly, listening carefully.
So this is where they keep condemned criminals.
Alice, surprised to hear your voice out there.
I figure you're surprised to hear anyone's voice at this point.
That is fairly accurate, yes. Have you come to gawk?
If I had it my way, it'd be far worse.
Oh, glad to see that things are going so well.
Why did you do it?
Sebastian asked me to find out who was leading it, where they were getting their information, their money, their funding, who was controlling them.
He ordered you to do it alone.
Most of the people, when I tried to talk about it, wanted to just go in guns blazing, so to speak.
So you went off on your own. You had your own plan.
I told William I wanted to infiltrate it, find out what I could. There were other people in the room that could have heard, but they liked to talk over me. Something a Suwa gets used to.
So you conferred with William, you came up with a plan, and you tried to infiltrate them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Same story I told your fiance. Same story I'll tell them when they finally do the questioning.
It's not the same story that William's telling.
Strange.
And I've known William longer than I've known my fiance.
And what story is William telling?
Well, the story that I've been told is that you're dangerous. You're one of them. You sold us out. You sold me out.
There's a soft chuckle from behind the door. No, I didn't. I showed Sebastian the truth of the matter. I gave them the original plans with hundreds of people, barons and squires and counts and all that before we cut it down to just friends and family, and then changed the location to fit the appropriate size. They knew nothing. Your fiance's mother signed off on them, remember?
You keep bringing up Sebastian like he's the one I got my information from.
He was the last person I got to speak to until you arrived.
Everything I've heard comes from William. And William and your story don't even come close to matching up.
We went to Goblin Town. I found hints to who was the group in charge or behind it. After Goblin Town, we went to Vixen, and I tried to explain it to them, but they got one bit of information and started making plans, talking over me. William tried to give me a chance to finish speaking, but it didn't last long. I took it that nobody wanted to hear the rest of the information. Not like I can yell.
So what? You blame everyone else?
No. I'm saying I'm a person caught in a poor situation for trying to do the right thing.
Why did you act on your own? You keep saying it's because everyone talked over you. But why act on your own?
Well, I figured if it really was the ranters that were in charge of this, then less people would be harmed if they found me out. Going into a ranter meeting, guns blazing, as it were, like they were talking, wouldn't have garnered us any information. And that's what we needed, was information.
Time and a place.
For what?
Well, if we're going to talk about this, let's be honest. You wanted to handle that part on your own.
Yes? So I'll tend to be better at getting information. William.
And Clarichan are great in fights and getting out of fights. And Pisky are known for stealing things and are really good at blending in. And I understand that you wanted to get the information.
We met at a school. In the gymnasium. That wasn't the original address that the flyer had. took about 3 hours to get there. For all their misleadings and twists and turns, everyone came concealed, disguised in some way. As did
Well, we
I.
already knew that from the party.
They all wore masks. The troll woman did most of the speaking. There was a knocker and a boggin were both very eager. Four satyrs talked among themselves afterwards, trying to come to a
Did you get any
decision.
names?
Nobody said anybody's name while we were there.
So they have basic cell gorilla-like structures.
Yes.
Need to know and all that.
And I was hoping by giving them information, even if I willingly knew it was outdated, would get me a step closer to further information.
Did you know that intelligence agents have handlers?
And who would I have trusted? Who wouldn't go rushing off? Who doesn't have some preconceived notion of what's acceptable?
Trust is a two-way street. And if
It
you don't
is.
trust us, then why should we trust you?
I'll explain to you my plans, should they have actually come to fruition and they did somehow get the information to your actual wedding. Take my car, my keys, go to my apartment. You'll see what I was working on.
Unfortunately, I can't do that.
Oh?
You, everything you are, everything you own, is under investigation.
Then they will
If
see the
there's
beginnings
truth
of a
there,
very beautiful statue set.
I have to leave this to the Red Knights.
Had it come to the point that they did somehow find your wedding, I was taking precautions. I was crafting statues of the Count, his wife, and Sebastian.
It doesn't matter. You trusted me with the inanimate plot, with what they were doing, with their dark plans. You called me in for help.
Yes, and when we finished with Goblin Town, you said that you didn't want a part of this. You wanted to keep your distance. Is that not true?
And you would have been able to thus tell me because I wouldn't have gotten involved and gone charging in.
Would you? Would you have kept your distance? Would you have not worried about me? Sent people to keep an eye on me?
So it's about trust again. You didn't trust me.
No, my dear, I do trust you. I trust you to be you.
That was
You are a
some.
caring, kind individual. And I pray you stay that way for a very long time. No, I trust people to be themselves.
Then that's not trust.
And yet no one's shown me a hint of trust since Colin decided to speak. Whereas beforehand, they trusted me implicitly.
If it had been anyone else who had told me, if it was anyone else, which is why I'm even here.
Ask William about what I said at Vixen after we went to Goblin Town. See if he remembers me saying that I wanted to infiltrate to get more information.
That's not why I'm angry now.
You're angry because you don't feel that I trusted you. I trust people to be themselves.
And that's not trust.
Is it? How is that
At
not
best, I
trust?
can call that pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition. So you would have gone against your sweet, kind, thoughtful personage to keep an eye on me, make sure that I didn't go too far. When Sebastian himself couldn't even be bothered to speak with me for well over a week.
Go too far. Go too far.
Yes,
Then you really don't know who I am. You really don't. If you're truly innocent, the Red Knights will figure it out. I will ask William what was said. But I don't pity.
be careful the words spoken by Colin. From the sounds of it, it was far too simple. Him being taken was part of their plan.
And if that's part of their plan, then that's a good thing. Because it was a mistake.
Was it?
They're underestimating a few of us.
Well, if it was part of their plan, thus far you've all played right into it. They've sown distrust and dissension amongst you.
Oh, have they?
Watch your friends. Watch them closely. Their behaviors will shift. I've seen it before.
Good luck, Dessa, she says, turning. Not walking away, just turning, so her back is to the cell. She's kind of looking up at the ceiling of the asylum.
One day you'll understand. And hopefully, nobody has to pay the price beyond me. That understanding. Sadly, it'll probably be a great many of you who end up paying the price for not listening.
Did you ever meet Absinthe?
No, I hadn't gotten a chance to.
You probably will soon.
We'll see.
I have a feeling he's going to end up here, one way or another.
Bring the man of a bomb right into Taranar. Probably make a bomb with what's in here.
I'm sure the king has that under control.
If he did, Absinthe wouldn't be out there right now.
I still have faith in those around me, in those I trust. But then again, we're never seeing eye to eye on that anyways.
You believe trust will allow you to do something that you wouldn't normally do.
I believe that if I trust people, rather than trying to
Correct?
put them in a neat box.
I don't place people in boxes. They create their own.
Well said.
Your box is large and vivid, full of spunk and virility. No, not virility. I would say imagination. That's a much more suiting word.
A spark can create just as easily as it can destroy, just as easily as it can harm, just as easily as it can save.
And who's to control that spark?
I guess you're never going to know.
Watch their behaviors. They've changed.
Some of my closest friends have changed. For the better or for the worse. But that's what we do.
These changes aren't ones you can trust. But that's up to you to decide. You can and can't. And who you can and won't.
Control is the last thing I'm worried about. But I wanted to hear what you had to say. And now that I've heard it, I'm free to make up my own mind.
You are.
Good luck, Dessa.
Thank you, Alice. Sebastian has all your wedding plans. Well, aside from the ones that your stepmother also had copies of, plus the Boggins and such who it was passed out to get done.
I wouldn't worry about that, Dessa. Trust me. I would
I
not worry
would.
about that at all.
I would. The rest of them are still out there. The rest of them haven't quit.
And Alice will go walking away.
And Dessa will stay there.
That's scene.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Goodbye.